Hello champions, hello Chessmood family, welcome to the daily lesson. Very often we are hearing the sentence, you should try to put your pieces on the most active positions, and it is true. However, there are exceptions, and today we will speak about exceptions. Here is the position, and before we go ahead, I refer you to pause the video and think. Here is black to move. Okay, white just doubles their rook and attacked the d6 pawn. How to defend the d6 pawn? There are two ways. One is bishop e7, second one is bishop e5. Following the general rule, you should try to put your pieces in an active position. Of course, bishop on e5 is doing better than on e7. However, from e5 the bishop is very vulnerable. White can play here g3, and we cannot stop white's next move f4. And after f4, when we move the bishop from e5, the d6 pawn will be lost. So after g3 here, black has problems. However, in the initial position, instead of playing here bishop e5, black could simply play bishop e7. Now, white can never attack the defender of d6 pawn, the bishop on e7. The rook on d8 can be free, it can stay on c8, it can stay on b8, the knight can come to c5, and here black has a fine position. Unfortunately, in the game, black played here bishop e5, tried to put their piece in the active position, and after g3 lost the pawn and then lost the game. Let's look at another example. It's white to move. The c3 pawn hangs. I refer you to pause the video and think, should we go bishop b4 or bishop b2? Okay, bishop b4 looks more active. However, after bishop b4, black can play knight b7, next move a5 is coming, very similar to the previous example. In the initial position, instead of playing here bishop b4 move, which looks active, bishop b2 would be the correct move. First of all, bishop on b2 defends the c3 pawn very fundamentally. Black cannot attack the bishop on b2. And from another point, the bishop on b2 looks very passive, limited with the c3 pawn. However, this is a very dangerous bishop. At any point, black should be very careful with this c4 move, after which they will open the bishop, and together, the bishop on b2 with his brother on b1, they can create very dangerous threats on opponent king. Let's look at the next example. It's black to move. The d6 pawn hangs, and black can play whether knight f5 or knight e8. Which one to do? I refer you to pause the video and think. Okay, in the game, black played knight f5, looks active move, and then they want to bring the king. However, knight on f5 can be attacked by white pawns. White played here h3, next move is coming g4. In the game followed king f8, and after g4, hg4, hg4, knight h6, black attacks the g4 pawn, and they hope after f3 or king f3 to play king e7 and defend the pawn. However, white took here rook d6. And after rook d6, knight d6, knight g4, white played here a4, strong move, and now the b6 pawn will be lost. Black cannot play king yet, e7, because after knight c8 check, the b6 pawn will be lost. And the next move, white anyway is going to attack the b6 pawn from c8 or from c4, and after b5, take, attack it one more time through d6 or a3, and the b5 pawn will be lost. In the initial position, instead of playing here knight f5, black should have played knight e8. Now the knight on e8 defends the d6 pawn very fundamentally, and black will have time to play king f8, king e7 with around equal endgame. Champions, at the end of today's lesson I have a homework for you. The d3 pawn hangs. How to defend it? You can post your answers in the comment section. And the takeaway from today's lesson: not always the active moves are the best. Sometimes the passive move will be better choice. And also it will be useful to remember the word fundamental defense. Often we will need to defend our pawn, square or anything, somehow that opponent cannot attack our defender. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing you during the next daily lessons with a Grandmaster.